Binge Movies, the revolutionary force in movie reviews.
Millions of fun seekers travel to the Sun Coast capital of America to revel in lawless freedom and reckless abandon on white sand beaches. White sand turns red, and fun turns to war when two former friends become bitter beach rivals. As a winter-weary nation thaws, Florida is already scorching hot and ready to rock. Who can handle the heat, and who is going home from the beach burned by the explosive rays of Last Movie Standing? Live from Hogan's Beach Shack in Clearwater, Florida, simulcast from a pocket dimension near you, it's ScreenRun!
I love it so much.
I am joined by two storied competitors, two storied guests in the history of binge movies. Let's start with you, Little Hat. We'll start with Little Hat.
It's not that little. It's a big head, and it's a hat that fits the big head. So
No, it's a
a good
normal size
size.
There you
hat,
go.
but in comparison to the adjacent
That's
hat,
true.
it's a little hat.
all right, I just don't want to be labeled Little Hat. That's a name that'll follow you around.
Fair enough. You don't want to be called Little Hat. What would you prefer to be called?
I would prefer to be called Robert Yaniz Jr. of Crooked Table Productions.
Okay, right. Okay.
It's a lot of words. I know.
And you will be defending the guest list, which is currently comprised as such. Matt F. Basler from the internet picked Police Academy. Sam from Movie Reviews and 20 Qs from New Zealand picked Sudden Death. Billy from We Watched a Thing, aka B Dizzle, picked Reservoir Dogs. And Brad from the Cinema Guys and from Tubi Tuesdays with Brad chose, brace yourself, Pearl Harbor. Robert, is that the one you're going with? And then from the next special episode, starring Things Cat Loves, Catherine Gonzalez, and Robert Yaniz Jr., a very unique triple threat episode, the first ever in the history of the show,
Ooh.
Ocean's 11. Now, remind me, Robert, was that your pick or was that
That was my
Cat's
pick.
Okay. All right. So that was your pick. So from the Police Academy series, you got Police Academy. From the Die Hard knockoffs, you got Sudden Death. From the Quentin Tarantino ranking episode, you got Reservoir Dogs. From the top grossing movies of 2001, 10 through 6, you got Pearl Harbor. And for the top grossing movies of 2001, 5 through 1, you have Ocean's 11. Okay. That brings us to our champion. From the Police Academy series as chosen by me. This is the short list. Police Academy 3, Dopes on Patrol. I don't even remember what the subtitle. Their first mission? No. Back in training. Police Academy 3, Back in Training. I also chose Sudden Death. I believe it is the definitive all-time, not counting Speed, Die Hard knockoff. For QT, I picked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. From the bottom 5 top grossing films of 2001, I picked Jurassic Park 3. I'll let you know how rough that list was. And as my number one, siding against Robert and siding with Kat, I chose The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Both made compelling arguments to me. I deferred to their choices, and ultimately, I chose Catherine. And now Robert is here to get his revenge on me yet again after destroying the Rocky franchise.
That's right.
Now, let's get to our formal introductions. First, the challenger. Representing True Tampeños everywhere, the impresario of close watches and franchise detours. With a record of 0-1 in Last Movie Standing competition, he is the Iron Man, Robert Yaniz Jr.
How's it going, everybody? Very casual. About to build up, very casual intro to me. What's up? I am for it. I mean, I'll own it. I got the Robert and the Junior, so, I'm leaning into it.
Now, the champion. Hailing from the Sunshine City, her stack of victories is high above sea level, but not quite Florida real estate prices. a lavender haze of movie debate because she's known to smoke a bitch. She is the red hair assassin of Screen Run, your reigning, defending, undisputed, last movie standing champion of the world, the Lady-Wan.
Hey, y'all.
Tonight she's wearing a very big hat. And sunglasses, at night, Corey Hart style. All right, folks, both of you know the name of the game. It's time to get to it. It's time to get to a little thing we like to call First Cut. Robert, we're going to start with you. What are the first three films, your bottom three, the ones you're cutting straight off the top?
Police Academy. Let's start with that one. Like, this is nowhere in nowhere in the multiverse is Police Academy in the vault. So let's just get that right off the bat out of there. It's a fun 80s comedy. I'm sure a lot of people are nostalgic for it. I saw it just the first time for a few years ago. And no, it has not aged particularly well. It's not an all-timer. So Police Academy is the first one dropping the ball.
So the very first of the First Cut is Police Academy.
That is correct.
To the shock of nobody.
Steve Guttenberg. Okay. To the shock of Steve Guttenberg. And
yeah, some are here for a disturbance in the first. Okay, what's up next for you? What are you getting rid of?
When the episode is titled Die Hard Knockoffs, you know you're not going in the vault. If there's no Die Hard movie in the vault, I don't think a Die Hard knockoff movie should be in the vault. So sorry, Jean-Claude, you're not progressing to the next round on my end.
But have you seen Sudden Death?
I have not seen Sudden Death. True story.
Jean-Claude Van Damme fights the Pennsylvania-Pittsburgh hockey team mascot.
I'm sure it's a fun watch, but vault-worthy, it is not.
To death.
To sudden death.
To sudden death. Yeah. Powers Booth. He just shoots people in the legs just because he can.
Of course.
It's very casual. The maiming.
So check out Sudden Death in the next few minutes before it's eliminated from movie history, I guess is what we're all saying.
Yeah.
Download it into your brain. Yeah. And my last cut is Pearl Harbor. I mean, obviously, like I'm not a Michael Bay fan of his good movies. There's like literally 3 Michael Bay movies that I like, and Pearl Harbor is not one of them. We previously on the episode where Saving Private Ryan progressed and ultimately defeated Rocky, we talked about Armageddon, Jason, and I don't even like that one, which is a more popular, which is considered a crowd pleasing Michael Bay, and I don't even like that one. So Pearl Harbor. Yes, go ahead.
In Armageddon, Billy Bob Thornton had a leg brace, correct? His one leg was in a leg brace.
No.
Yes, Billy Bob Thornton.
In Armageddon?
Yes. He can't go on the mission because his leg is in a brace.
I guess. So he
could never become an astronaut. Okay.
Well, there was space. We were introduced to space dementia. So yes, I do like that.
That's also part of it.
So yeah.
But in Pearl Harbor, John Voight's legs
that I remember, yes,
are in replica braces. They got FDR's real braces. They made molds of them. They put them on John Voight's legs, but because they're two different people, the braces didn't fit. And so Voight had to act all of his scenes in braces that were too tiny for his legs.
So
which caused bruising and bleeding, and he would bleed on the scenes in FDR replica braces. All so he could dramatically get up from a table in one of the most hilarious scenes I have ever seen in a legitimate film. Yeah. You're going to take that joy away from people,
I am.
Robert.
I guess I am. Yeah, I sure am.
If you've ever wanted to see John Voight struggle to get out of a wheelchair
well, yes.
in real braces that are too tiny for his legs, that's the movie.
That is the
movie.
It's
gone.
It is. It's gone. Goodbye, Paul.
All right. Well, Robert, man, he was quick and decisive there, Lady-Wan. I'm sure you're known for being quick and decisive, so let's get to it. What are your first 3 films that you're getting rid of? What are you eliminating straight off the top here today?
My first cut is Jurassic Park 3. I love Jurassic Park so much, and it is in the vault where it belongs. And to be able to eliminate officially from existence just one sequel to this perfect film has been my absolute honor.
Thank you for your service.
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me do this.
All right. You're welcome. Next.
Police Academy 3.
Who was more traumatized? The folks at Pearl Harbor, the folks who filmed Pearl Harbor, or you watching The Last Jurassic World?
Well, I've managed to block out almost all memories of Jurassic Park sequels. So that's my survival mechanism, is I just compartmentalize and erase those memories myself.
You are the greatest generation, Lady-Wan.
I do what I can.
All right, so then you got rid of Police Academy 3, Back in Training, the one I selected. That has Bobcat Goldthwait from Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me fame.
Mm.
I have it on good authority. You've seen Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me live and in person.
I have.
With a lot of other white people.
Yes.
Was Bobcat there?
He was not, unfortunately. No.
Is that why you got rid of the movie? Or? I'm just confused as to why you're eliminating it.
You know, I sat with this decision for a long time. I consulted those who were close to me and really weighed this for a while, but ultimately it was the right thing to do.
I see.
Yeah.
And your final elimination is?
Sadly, it is sudden death.
Did you know that he fights the Pittsburgh Penguins mascot and to death in that movie? Have you heard that?
I thoroughly enjoyed watching this movie. I'd recommend it as a thing to check out right now if I weren't eliminating it also. So
the thing that Robert doesn't realize is that this movie was filmed during the lockout in the NHL season in the mid 90s. And so the team, Pittsburgh's team, had no ability to generate revenue. So they just let Peter Hyams come in and legitimately blow up the igloo.
it was fantastic.
They literally just blew the fuck out of this building because they was like, we gotta get money somehow.
Yeah.
They probably made more, especially in the 90s. They probably made more money from the production of this movie than they would have that season of NHL hockey. Back in 1994.
Yeah.
NHL wasn't what it is today, at least stateside. So
No, it's a very
erased from
entertaining
existence.
film.
Peter Hyams, we'll
Sadly.
have to see if we can come back to him another day. I think he's one of the greatest B-tier directors of all time. He can take any movie, any bad script, any low budget, and make it look like James Cameron shot it. That is his gift. We love you, Peter Hyams. God bless you, sir. And your son. His son's a really good director, too. Up and coming. All right. Well, so that leaves us with... for Robert, you have the choice between Reservoir Dogs and Ocean's 11.
Mm-hmm.
Lady-Wan, you have on the guest list Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now it's time for our little something we do around here called our coin flip, the Dunn and DeLuise coin flip. We will go with the champion. It's a champion's prerogative to call it in the air. For those that are brand new to our show, Dunn is our patron saint named after character actor Kevin Dunn, who you might know as Milt Englund from Ghostbusters. He's in the Transformers movies. He's in Blue Steel with Jamie Lee Curtis. He was most recently in the Emmy-nominated show, Emmy-winning show Veep for several seasons. He is Kevin Dunn. He is a That's Guy. He is heads and tails above everybody else, all of our other patron saints, hence why he's heads. But you can't have heads without tails. The only person I know who represents the tail better than, I can't say what I want to say, but person who represents tails for our show is Dom DeLuise because he be dragging that wagon, boy. He's a mighty bitty big man. He's a meaty man slapping meat, and we like meaty men who slap meat on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So he is tails. Lady-Wan will go to you. Call it in the air. Heads or tails, go!
Tails never fails.
Tails it is. Which means you get to choose between one of two of our advantages.
Yes.
You either get first word, last word. Since this is a snake debate format, you either get the first word or the last word, which means you get to make your opening argument and you get to be the final person to make their closing arguments. You get to put the final thoughts. Park that big rig right into the garage, the tiny garage that is the brains of our listeners. Or You can do first pick, which means of the two films that you have, you get the first choice, which means, you get to pick the movie you want, which usually works out well if there's overlap. This time around, there's only one overlap and you both eliminated it. So that might not be the advantage you want to take. I don't know.
Yeah.
You've done crazy shit before. You're going to do crazy shit again? What are you going to do?
I would like to select the advantage of first word, last word.
First word, last word. You guys are going to have to keep me on track with this to make sure I remember that this is a snake thing. So we're going to open our argument with round one, opening arguments, 90 seconds. Since it is first word, Lady-Wan, you have first word, correct?
Yes, that's how it
Are
works.
those the rules of my show?
Those are the rules of your show that you've been doing for years.
I only do 4 of these a year, though.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I guess it is.
Yeah.
When you put it that way. 90 seconds on the clock. Lady-Wan, tell us when you are ready. Opening arguments uninterrupted. Robert, keep your trap shut. And then we'll flip it around. And then Lady-Wan will have to keep her trap shut while you talk. Okay? All's fair in Last Movie Standing and War. Okay. Ready?
I'm ready.
And whoa. You got to tell us what movie you're picking.
Well, it's going to be the first thing that I say.
Yeah, I kind of
Okay.
assumed.
All right. Fair enough. Fair
It'll
enough.
be apparent.
All right.
Yes,
Are you ready?
I am.
Go.
The Fellowship of the Ring deserves to be preserved in the vault for several reasons. The accomplishments of this film are great, but also the impact it has had on 20th century filmmaking and pop culture is immeasurable. New Line Cinema took a huge risk on this series of films, giving the reins to a relatively unknown indie director in Peter Jackson and sending him off to the other side of the world to make a trilogy. This is absolutely unheard of nowadays, as studios can't keep themselves from muddling in creative to the point where they will cancel an entire movie after it has been shot. Lord of the Rings is the 21st century Star Wars. It's an epic piece of nerd content that captivated society, and Hollywood has been chasing ever since. The film brought fantasy into the mainstream and, along with Harry Potter, sets the course for the 2000s in a way we can easily lose sight of, but shouldn't. Without Tolkien, are we captivated by who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? Would we even care about Thor and the Nine Realms? About collecting Infinity Stones, Mother Boxes, Horcruxes? The Ring is the OG MacGuffin, but instead of being a thing that we have to chase or move, it's truly an entity. It is a character. It changes the holder. It corrupts them as absolute power does. And it leaves you, as the audience, wondering, what would you do if you had one ring to rule them all?
10 seconds.
I'm done.
All right. She's handing back her time. 5, 4, 3,
Drinking
2,
my tropical cocktail.
1. After that first round, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has been eliminated from cinematic history. And now it's up to Robert. This is the one shot for Quentin Tarantino to be added to the vault.
Well,
If
may I
if it-
interject real fast? You have, in fact, ranked pretty much everything else he's done. Am I correct?
There's a
in
few
this?
stragglers, but this is pretty much
It's
it.
like, I think the Kill Bills, right? I think
Kill Bill's,
Hateful Eight, Death
the
Proof.
Hateful Eight, and obviously the Death Proof, and the one that is yet to come out.
Right. Okay.
So, okay.
Got it.
All right. So, is it going to be Reservoir Dogs or Ocean's 11? We're about to find out. Robert, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
90 seconds on the clock. Go.
So first of all, I love that this boiled down to 2 heist movies with vastly different approaches. And as compelling an argument as Robert Yaniz Jr. made on the episode, I'm going with Reservoir Dogs because you see everything you need to know in this first scene. We have a heist movie that opens with a bunch of criminals talking about Madonna, and then a hard cut to Tim Roth covered in blood in a backseat of a car. If that doesn't catch your attention from moment one, I don't know what will. This is a film in which, in one fell swoop, Quentin Tarantino had arrived. This is the source code for everything else we get from Tarantino. The snappy dialogue, the memorable soundtrack, the hyper violence, the over the top style of his films. Everything is in here. The nonlinear structure. It sets up these lingering questions that keep suspense rolling throughout the whole time. What happened during this job? A heist movie, by the way, that does not feature a heist. who is the rat? These things that are revealed little by little throughout the course of the film, and it's anchored by performances by Harvey Keitel, Tim Roth, Steve Buscemi, all timers that, and anyone who knows anybody about these people's careers would put in their pantheon of incredible performances. It's just crackling from the first scene. Cinematography is immersive. It's everything Tarantino, just like in its nascent and yet somehow fully developed state. It's a triumph for indie film. It's a triumph for cult movies, and it essentially shaped the '90s, giving us imitator after imitator.
Out of time. I was so stricken.
Me too.
By your choice. Wow.
Well, like the Lady-Wan, I did one of those like B-roll of just like walking on a beach, staring off at the sunset, searching my soul and thinking about, rewatching Reservoir Dogs, obviously, for this episode, and being like, yeah, I think I'm going Reservoir Dogs. And not to mention it today, as we're recording this, not to date the episode, it is Tarantino's birthday. So I'm taking that as a good omen.
I'll have to delete that. Thanks for saying that.
You said that this was happening live.
Yeah, you also did say it's live.
That's true. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I did. Okay, Robert. Now we did a little switcheroo here. We're doing cross-examinations for our round 2, which would normally be round 3. We're changing the format just a little bit from here on out. It is a snake debate, so you get to take it to the Lady-Wan. Cross-examination. Lady-Wan, you get to answer. Robert, as you know, please target this in the form of questions. Right. That the Lady-Wan can respond to. Lady-Wan, if you are beginning a response as the timer is counting down, you'll have an additional 20 seconds or so to wrap up your thought. That way you get a chance to respond. I will put 90 seconds on the clock. I will give you a cue at 10 seconds. We have 10 seconds left. Are you ready, Robert, for your cross-examination?
Sure. Let's do it.
The hot lights are on. The Lady-Wan is going to sweat. Here we go. 90 seconds on the clock and go.
So, do you think that the Fellowship of the Ring works as a standalone, as a satisfying watch?
I do, actually. It feels like more than one movie within one movie. About halfway through, it feels like it's going to be the end of the movie. And then guess what? It's not. There's still so much more story to go. So, yeah.
Okay. Because, it feels like pretty open-ended towards the end there. Do you feel that it all negates the fact that this movie essentially restarts itself halfway through, like you said? Like, it's an hour and a half of kind of introducing the world, the Hobbiton. These are the characters. They're in a group. Oh, just kidding. No, they're not. Here, let's all follow them on their journeys.
I feel like it's an all the more impressive film that it manages to successfully navigate what is more than one movie's worth of story throughout and keep you wanting to continue watching and not to bail out because it feels like it should have ended.
Okay. How integral do you think Andy Serkis is to this trilogy? Because putting this in the vault, he's not even in this movie hardly, except for a couple of words. And granted, I'm watching the Planet of the Apes movie, so I'm a little biased about this right now.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was more Serkis, but I'll take the little tease that I can get in this, and it's very intriguing.
3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. All right. Lady-Wan, are you ready to turn the tables on Robert Yaniz Jr.?
Yes.
Okay. Robert, same rules apply to you. You get to respond. Lady-Wan, please phrase everything in a form of a question. That way he can respond. Robert, if you're in the middle of a response or starting a response towards the last few seconds, give you maybe additional 20 seconds, somewhere in that range to complete your thought. 90 seconds on the clock. Lady-Wan, put those hot lights on Robert Yaniz Jr. Make him fan himself with his hat, his completely normal-sized hat.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Although it would be better if he could use your oversized hat.
It is dramatic.
Yeah, it's way better to fan yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And go.
Do you feel that casual use of the N-word and the F-word is appropriate for straight white men?
No. But I know. I was like, I knew this was coming or something like it.
Yeah, not.
No, of course. Even watching it, I'm like, oof, rough. No, but it is also, it was common at the time in the 90s. You have to put a disclaimer on this movie. These are also clearly terrible people. And so I don't think the movie is condoning their views on women or black people or the LGBTQ community. These aren't exactly aspirational figures. So, I think that's kind of gets a pass, at least a little bit for that.
That's a fair answer. Is this your favorite Tarantino movie?
It's not my personal favorite. It's up there. It's in the conversation. And for all the reasons I mentioned, it has everything that, we know from Tarantino, all his hallmarks, including the from inside the trunk shot. All of that stuff is in here. Michael Madsen, a lot of his collaborators start here. But it's also, I wasn't on the other episode. A lot of those movies they were already gone from cinematic history. So I guess I would ask, which movies are we talking about? The Hateful Eight, Death Proof? I mean, I like the Kill Bill, so, but we're not discussing that one. So that's another conversation for another time.
Out of time. It's time for rebuttals. This is our third round, 3 of 4. You get a chance to rebut uninterrupted anything from any of the previous rounds that Robert brought up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage you to keep your argument here as a rebuttal to what he has said, not what he has not said. Okay. I know you know the rules, but this is for the benefit of the listeners at home.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. 90 seconds on the clock. Our last 90-second round. Are you ready?
I am.
And go.
I don't believe that we can put Reservoir Dogs into the vault because I can't support putting slurs that are used in this film into the vault and saving them for all time. And while it is a very good movie, it's entertaining. There's some great Tarantino isms in the film, yes, but I believe we've seen him use all those things to far better effect. I think his nonlinear storytelling is more impactful in Pulp Fiction. I think the action is better in Kill Bill. I think the acting is stronger in Inglourious Bastards, if you've ever heard of it, as it's disappearing right now. And I think the needle drops are better in like everything else he's done. And while this is, like the start of Tarantino, I think it's unfair to his career to say that this is the best thing he's ever done was the first thing he really ever did. And I think he's continuing to grow as a director and as a writer. And I just don't think this is his best work. And I don't think it can go into the vault because of that.
You have 30 seconds left.
Well, what else should I say about it? I really don't like the N-word. It makes me super uncomfortable. I don't know what to do about it. Okay. Also, let me just say that Tim Roth needs to chill the fuck out. That is beyond overacting. And it really does start to grate on you as you're watching it by yourself. So that's my extra criticism is there's some great performances, yes, but Tim Roth is not one of them. And he's really harsh in the mellow of this movie. Now I'm done.
Mic drop.
Now I'm done. All right, Robert, you get to rebut the rebut. That means you get to rebut everything the Lady-Wan has said in all the previous rounds, including what she just said. Okay? 90 seconds on the clock. Make your case. Again, rebut what she said, not what she hasn't said. All right, tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
Go.
Ironically, that I agree with the comment about just because it's the first doesn't mean it's the best, because that's how I feel about The Lord of the Rings. The Fellowship of the Ring, it creates a very strong world. Obviously, the world building is incredible. We know it's a good movie, but is it the one of the three that belongs in the vault? I mean, people will have heard in the Ocean's 11, the 2001, that episode, that I think that The Lord of the Rings has two better movies in its pocket. And I think it has two better shots at being in the vault. This movie works obviously for creating the world, but as a standalone film, it doesn't really deliver. At the end, you're left kind of sitting there being like, wondering what's happening next and without any kind of closure. They're just off on their adventure. And I think that's great. But Two Towers works better as a standalone. Return of the King obviously closes it all up. There's no Andy Serkis in this movie, so you're missing arguably the most impressive character in the whole thing. And it's just, yeah. And as far as what you're saying with Reservoir Dogs, I don't know what to tell you. We got to get it. And Tarantino had such an impact on cinema. in the last few decades. If this is our last chance to get him in, it's obviously we're not going to give Hateful Eight, Death Proof the chance to get in there. Instead, this is the film that created him, and this is the
10
film
seconds.
that also had, like Lord of the Rings, but in a cult movie, indie movie perspective, had an ongoing impact on everything we've seen since.
All right, time. Man, took it right to the wire. Great job, both of you. We are now in our fourth and final round. Robert, you get to go again. This time, you will have only 60 seconds to make your direct appeal to our audience, to all of the film snobs, the Tarantino bros. Why should they go to @Binge Movies on Twitter and vote on this exclusive poll only on @Binge Movies on Twitter? It'll be posted the day after this episode drops. Our episodes come out on Tuesdays. This episode will drop on a Tuesday. The poll will go up on a Wednesday, and it will run for about 4 or 5 days. Make your direct appeal. Sum it all up and say this is why you got to vote for Reservoir Dogs. 60 seconds is on the clock. Tell me when you are ready, sir.
Let's do it.
And go.
Reservoir Dogs has shaped everything about the crime movie in the last few decades. It brings these actors who were, you know, a lot of them were sort of rising talent at the time into the forefront. It brings this style of filmmaking into the forefront. It set Quentin Tarantino on the path that would lead to Pulp Fiction. It was a cultural phenomenon that, like, everyone at a certain age, everyone in like high school, college, had this poster in their dorm room because it was the epitome of cool in the 90s. Does the movie have flaws? Are these characters problematic? Sure. But if we're going to get a Tarantino movie in there, this is essentially the prototypical Tarantino movie. And considering that everything we love about him is in this movie, and that Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards, etc., are now gone from cinematic history, it would feel disingenuous for the vault to not have Tarantino in there.
All right. Strong argument from Robert. Lady-Wan, you have 60 seconds. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You got first word. Here's your last word. Go.
One does not simply eliminate Lord of the Rings from film history. This film deserves to be preserved in the vault, and here's why. It's a faithful adaptation of a beloved novel. It's the first truly modern epic when it comes to film production, and it still looks good more than 20 years later. But beyond all of that and its impact on film, it's a story about friendship. It's about joining together with those who are different than you to achieve a common good. It's about accepting the times that you live in and the life you find yourself in. It's about achieving great things, even when everyone underestimates you. These lessons were important nearly 90 years ago when they were written. They were important 20 years ago when the film came out, and they still resonate today. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given us, Tolkien writes. And all you have to do is decide to put the Fellowship of the Ring in the vault.
And time. Two very, very strong competitors with very strong rounds. Robert, you want to say something?
No, I mean, I'm glad this didn't turn into Tarantino versus Tarantino, because I think this is more interesting of a matchup, because it's one obsessive fandom with another obsessive fandom.
Yes.
Good luck, guys. Figure it out. Our work is done. Like, wow. Whatever happens now.
They've done it all. They've done first cut. They've done the debate. Now it's down to final cut, and that final cut is chosen by you, the avid listeners of Binge Movies, and the people who don't touch enough grass and stay on film Twitter all day. It's up to you when you're not busy astroturfing for when you're not busy astroturfing for giant mega corporations who don't give a fuck about you. You should be on @Binge Movies on Twitter and vote in this poll. Will it be Quentin Tarantino, the challenger, or the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, as chosen by our reigning defending champion? Will it be an upset? Will we see a new champion in Robert Yaniz Jr.? Will one Floridian dethrone another Floridian? Will they still have public libraries by the time this episode comes out? Everything is on the line. It's the last movie standing. Spring Blue. Go to at Binge Movies on Twitter. Vote Robert. When I'm not begging to be your friend and you're negging me, what are you doing?
I am talking on 2 different podcasts about movies. So you can watch, you can listen to Close Watch, where we get to know our guests through the movies they love. We're doing movie musicals in 2023. Recently had the Lady-Wan, which as of this recording, it will be up soon in a few days. I promise. It's been a month. So you'll hear us talk about In the Heights. And on Franchise Detours, we believe no movie series travels in a straight line. We're doing the Planet of the Apes franchise. So 9 movies, basically reaffirming that humanity is doomed from 1968 to 2017. And maybe Jason will show up on there at some point. So
you
can find those on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, and other podcatchers as well as crookedtable.com. I'm on Twitter at crookedtable.
Now, Robert, I don't want to put you on the spot. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever thought about getting the table fixed?
You know what? I just kind of gotten used to it now. I think one leg is like shorter than the other, so I'm just like, then I would then be crooked, and that's better than the table.
I asked you at some point, I said, why is it crooked table? And you're like, well, originally me and my brother started this. We were on a crooked table. Because one leg was shorter than the other, and to me, that's a lopsided table. That's an uneven table.
Yeah, but that's
crooked table.
That's not a fun name.
Crooked table's a quick fix, Robert. You just adjust it. You just adjust the table.
Well, yeah, crooked table.
You figure out where the light is and you turn it.
It's a much cooler name than like wonky
lopsided
table. So
wonky.
Jacked up table
is inspiring.
Jacked up table productions.
Jacked up table, yeah. Jacked up table productions, yeah. Lady-Wan, when you're not busy wearing giant hats, sunglasses, and hitting that vape pen, what are you doing?
I feel like that was unnecessary to put me on blast like that. But okay.
It's spring blast. Everybody be vaping.
Woo!
It's spring blast.
Yeah, in Florida, you're legally required to own a vape. It's
exactly. And it has to be cotton candy.
Yeah.
It has to be cotton. It has to be cotton candy. And you have to blow giant clouds of it everywhere you go.
Massive clouds everywhere I go. Yeah. Well, you can find me on my podcast, Screen Run. And at this point, because I will have finished editing, I swear, you can listen to Robert on our episode where we talked about They Live, because again, humanity is doomed. So enjoy that. We're talking John Carpenter movies. Jason was on our episode on Assault on Precinct 13. So check that out if you're interested. And I'm on Twitter at The Lady-Wan, and my show is at Screen Run.
If you're interested in podcasting Megazords, we represent the greatest podcasting Megazord in the history of podcasting Megazords, as coined by Robert Ronnet.
I like Little Hat better.
Little Hat,
Ronnet
John
S.
Yaniz Jr. Robert, I'm sorry, I'm fucking it all up tonight.
It's that vape cloud.
This is why he nags me when I'm like, hey buddy, what's going on? And he's just like, I'm fine. Leave me alone.
Robert is not active all of a sudden. Robert has signed up.
Oh God. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, that was been Last Movie Standing. Please follow these people, support their show, and make sure you vote on this poll, because you will decide. You alone have the power of which movie, which obsessive fandom will answer the call. Will it be the Ring Wraiths from The Lord of the Rings? Or will it be the Tarantino bros? We're about to find out. So this is exciting times. And until next time, binge on.